So me say crowd and people cause you know say that I me. Nobody else I'm out the tipper I with the youth. Ram dancer town, black up dancer country. For all of the people in the community. I stick to my roots. I stick to my roots. You know about a Kwaku gotta stick to his roots. I stick to my roots. I stick to my roots. You know Tipper Irie gotta stick to my roots. Well, this is Tipper Irie, the original ragamuffin. And you know what's me there for the Nubian Forum People's Talk Show with the non-fearing, unapologetic, the true prophet Kwaku. Make sure you keep it locked.
Greetings, this is G Vibes, and you're listening to the Prophet Kwaku on the Nubian Forum People's Talk Show.
Itepe ineke J.R. Senebe. Akwaba, you in tune to Nubian Farm People's Talk Show, live on GalaxyAfriway.com. Akwaba. Otep, Akwaba. Itepe ineke J.R. Senebe. Divine peace, long life, stability, and good health. Otep in the name and Akwaba in the name of the great force of the universe, the omnipotent being that which is greater than ourselves. Who has many names, Olodumare, Nkulokulu, Kwame Blafoshe, Mungo, Ja Amenra, Onyeme, Jinyame, Ashe, 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 Akwaba, to the Nubian Farm People's Talk Show people. The day after the day before. See? The day after the day before. Where it was the annual African Emancipation Day reparations March event. That was the rebellion grounding event. Before I start, I want to give honor and say Moduba Fun to the ancestors that marched with us for the last 6 years who are no longer here with us. We give homage and venerations to you, Moduba Fun. Moduba Fun to the pilots that was once part of the Galaxy family, the members, the people them that listened, the people them that visited, who are no longer with us in the physical but now with us in the spiritual. We say Moduba Fun to you. May you be with us in spirit as we guide through the show and as you've always been with us. So we give thanks and praise to the ancestors who has been a part of us in this physical, or we know, and our ancestors of antiquity, and those ancestors that fought the enemies of Mama Africa for the last 6,000 years. Moduba Fun to the ancestors who throughout the Mangamizi, whose bones lay beneath the many seas, the many oceans, the many rivers, the many lakes, the many swamps, the many deserts, the many trees that they were lynched from, the many graves of this world. Moduba Fun. Moduba Fun to the ancestors who wrote our stories down on stones and papyrus and stones and scrolls and books and put them in audio and video so that we would know who we are, what we've accomplished, what we've contributed to world civilization, how we arrived where we are, the circumstances of why, where we survived, where we were successful, where we made mistakes, the corrections we need to do, and where we need to go. Moduba Fun to those ancestors who came into this country in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, who came to make a better life for themselves, who came and helped to rebuild brutish Britain. We venerate and we remember you for the places that you occupied, the places that you made popular that are now stolen. Moduba Fun, we venerate and honor you. And to our personal ancestors, those of us who's listening, our parents, who's moved on to their ancestors, our personal families, our brothers, our sisters, our cousins, our aunts, our uncles, our friends. We heal them and we heal them up and say, Moduba Fun, Madasi, for your sacrifices. You're in tune to Nubian Forum People's Talk Show live here in the Rock. I keep saying that on GalaxyAfriway.com. Now the numbers to communicate with us. Remember, so we ain't got over an hour and a half to communicate The text and WhatsApp number, if you are abroad, it's +44 for both numbers, and you just drop the first 0. So it's +44 whether it's the landline number or it's whether it's a Skype number or it's the text and WhatsApp number. It's +44. Drop the first 0. Seen? 073 7792 073. I repeat, 073 7792 0703. And then you have the local number that you can call if you use abroad, +44 and then drop the 0. 0207 193 0174. 0207 193 0174. Now, there's a couple of things I want to address before I talk about yesterday. I want to big up the president of Rwanda, President Kagame, who deported, I know it's only 18, but he deported 18 Chinese people for overworking Rwandans, being abusive to Rwandans, and being racist to Rwandans in Rwanda. And him run them out and tell them, say, we are happy for anybody that wants to come to Rwanda and work with us, but you have to respect us. And remember that Rwanda is for Rwandans. So if you come here under this, you get fling out. So I want to put a big, massive round of applause to President Kagame for that. See? On the flip side of that, people, and I want us to have a discussion about this, because this ties in to yesterday. It has been reported that the president and the government of Zimbabwe has agreed to pay 3.5 billion to the European thieves. Listen to this. The European thieves who stole land from Africans under the British government. Yeah? Occupied lands as farms. And what we have to bear in mind, the farming they were doing wasn't for Zimbabweans, it was for Britain and their other colonies. That's why you could get roses and daffodils all day long, every day, 24/7, whether it was winter or summer. Because they used to grow them in Zimbabwe and ship them in. So they've granted these people them reparations. Listen to this, black people. They've granted them reparations. Yeah? They've granted them reparations for the loss of land. Big up to all the people that was watching me on the Facebook. I say, my niece is there. Khalifa, big up yourself. Yeah, Nafatiti and Winston and Dwayne and all them people there. Dwayne Brooks, Lady Reed, big up yourself. They've granted them this money. Now, bearing in mind that Zimbabwe has been on sanctions for nearly over a decade. They've been on sanctions when President Robert Mugabe was alive. But the people them still was eating food. We know that our sister here, Shanice, took a trip out there several times with people to Zimbabwe under the sanctions. And if Sister Shanice, you're listening, I want you to call in and give us some information on that. Under the sanctions. You must say to people, she took people there under the sanctions to Zimbabwe, as she says. And they told us a different story. Now this new president I tell you the truth, I didn't even look up his name. because I don't think his name is worthy of being called. So I always say the Zimbabwean government. And just like I looked on a message Dr. Les sent to me, he said he might as well rename it Rhodesia. And it's true. It's not Zimbabwe again. So what about the plights of the people of Zimbabwe? So my brothers and sisters and my family who's listening, where does it tie in to yesterday? Now here we are as Africans in the diaspora, fighting for reparations. And we are fighting. We might not be shooting and dropping bombs and doing all these kind of things, but we are fighting for reparations. And we're not only fighting for reparations for ourselves, because what is unique about the Africans in Europe, especially Africans here in Britain, is that whenever we do anything that concerns our people, we do it on a global level. So when we're talking about reparations, we're not just talking about reparations for Africans who's just here. We're talking about Africans who suffered globally. Where does that put us? How do we deal with this situation here now? Where we was locking down Brixton yesterday and seeking reparations, and one of the African governments betray Africa. This is not just a betrayal to Zimbabwean people. This is a betrayal to Africans globally. How do we address and deal with this? This treasonous behavior. How we deal with this treasonous behavior? The people them did not pay for the lamb. You remember when the government of Mugabe started to reclaim land? One of the things that he said, if any of them landowners can bring a contract that they sign with the government here to have those land, they can keep them. Do you remember he said that? Because he knew they didn't have any. And what the British government does not tell people, that at the agreement in Lancaster Gate was that the Zimbabwean government, the new Zimbabwean government, would not take the land immediately. They'll give it a certain amount of years, and then the British will compensate the farmers for the redistribution of land back to its original people. So has this man forgotten what the agreement was? So now you're going to pay the British government debt that them signed in a Fidem country, Lancaster Gate, down there in our West one there, Bayswater around them side there. Yeah, so that contract signing now, it never signed on the side of Zimbabwe. It signed yes, sir. And if we remember rightly, Tongagara never agree with it. And as soon as them land back at Zimbabwe, him can mysteriously get blow up. Remember, it was Tongagara, Joshua Nkrumah, and Robert Mugabe. A lot of people forget about Joshua Nkrumah and Robert Mugabe and Tongagara. So here we are now as Africans, fighting for the liberation of our people. In Southwest 9, Brixton last night, or yesterday morning, way down to the evening. And then these people do crap like that. So we have to address this, Africans. We cannot let this pass. We have to make a statement that we, the Africans in the diaspora, do not agree with that. We are totally against it. You understand what I'm saying to you? All them are going to want to invite we to Zimbabwe when them are betray the people them. I've said this already. The only thing that's changed over time is technology. They've modernized everything. They've modernized our capture. They've modernized our abuse. And they've modernized stealing from us. They've also modernized the traitors that coerce with, cohabitate with them and corroborate just for their own personal gains. I would like to see the president and his government cabinet bank account where them have their money bank, because I know it ain't in Zimbabwe. You're in tune to the Nubian Informed People's Talk Show, live on GalaxyAfiwe.com. Now we're here and we talk about yesterday. I want people to call in and tell me what was yesterday like for them. I want you to call in, give me your own personal opinion of how you think yesterday went. Otep. Oh, Sister Shanice.
Greetings. How you doing, Brother Kwaku?
I'm fine, my sister.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Rise yourself up. Just stepped through the door. And, you know, I heard that you was touching on the Zimbabwe situation. You know, so I get the SP to call in. So I said, yeah, let me give you a call. So apologies for missing the first part of your show. I was out on the road. But
well, let me give you a brief synopsis. What I was talking about, I'm going to talk about what happened yesterday in terms of, you know, how people felt about yesterday, etc. But I said there's something that ties in with yesterday. And then I went on to the fact that the government of Zimbabwe has agreed to pay the thieves money of 3.5 billion in compensation for land that they stole that was recaptured back by the Mugabe government. Because I need to word it that way, because that's exactly how it is. And Mugabe made a quote once when he said, if any of those farmers that has had the land taken back from them can produce documents saying that they bought and purchased that land, he will give it back to them. And he said that because he knew they didn't, and they did not.
that's right.
You understand what I'm saying to you? So I was saying that, but before that, I mentioned about President Kagame in Rwanda, who expelled 18 Chinese people for disrespecting Rwandans. Yeah, and sent out a stiff message that Rwanda is open to anybody that want to come and do business with us and deal with us, but you have to respect Rwandans and know that Rwanda belongs to Rwandans.
All right.
Yeah, nobody can come in our yard and disrespect our people. And I think more African leaders need to stand up like that. But then again, we know most of them work for the West. So what I want, and then I went on to say that, you know, under people can talk about sanctions, but you took several trips to Zimbabwe with people under those sanctions, and you came back and told us a different story. So it's on that line I requested you to call. So go through, my sister.
Yes, I concur with all that you said so far in that synopsis, my brother. And yes, picking up from where you left off there, I have organised 3 trips to Zimbabwe. I've taken a total of 97, just under 100 people to visit Zimbabwe. So anything I say about that country, there are, you know, those numbers of people who can call in and personally testify as to the economic situation in the country as they saw it at that time. So the first trip was in 2017, then we went again in 2018 and 2019. And even while we were out there in the country, we were hearing reports via the Western media that the supermarket shelves were empty, people were starving, it was an economic catastrophe in the country, the farmers weren't producing, as if, you know, we were totally helpless as a people and couldn't produce for ourselves if the white farmers were not producing. We were out there at the time, and we were in and out of supermarkets all the time, and those supermarkets were full of food, not only processed food from abroad, and I mean it could rival any supermarket that we've got here in the United Kingdom for the range of goods that you could buy in their supermarkets. But also, the supermarkets here could not rival Zimbabwe for the range of fresh fruits and fresh produces that you could also get in those supermarkets. We went and visited farms, we spoke to farmers, and we could see the production that was happening. Now, I'm not saying that there wasn't scope for more farming to be done. Of course there is. Zimbabwe is about 2.5 times the size of the UK. And under the sort of apartheid system that they had there, whilst the land was under the control of those invaders, there was one farmer, for example, who had a farm the size of Wales.
Wales, yeah.
Yeah.
And listen to this, sis. Just to interject there. That wasn't the only farm he had. Right. So continue, sis.
Right. So you know. And, we say, okay, there were all these white farmers who were doing the farming in Zimbabwe. But let's remember that a large number of those farmers were farming tobacco, to send back to the West, tobacco factories. And then the rest of them were farming fruits and vegetables for the markets here in Europe.
And daffodils and roses.
Yes, flowers.
I think the key thing, my sister, sorry to cut you, sis. I think the key thing that we have to, because the language we're using is not ours, we have to be very clear in the messages that we send. The people that owned the farms, they didn't do no farming. It was the Africans that was doing the farming. They just owned the farms.
That's right.
I think that we have to be very clear about that. Go on, sis, carry on.
Yes, with them teeth in self. They didn't even legitimately own it either. They captured the land, them run the people who had legitimate ownership of the land off of the land and took it over, and then put the Africans in a situation where they had to work for them for their own survival, because the land that they were left was almost unusable to feed themselves and their family. So it was a really wicked system that they had in place prior to the second Chemarenge, the revolutionary war to liberate themselves of those evildoers. And so, they tried to create this scenario and this impression that while they were there farming, one, they were farming produces to feed the African people. Most of that is a lie. I'm not saying that some of the produces didn't go to the market. Of course it did. It went into the supermarkets which they then owned or their people owned. Because basically the way they had the society structured is that they were the owners of the land. These were the Europeans who were the owners of the land. They were the owners of the produces that was produced on the land. Therefore, they were the ones who were benefiting from the wealth of the land. And then at the secondary level, so that's the primary level, at the secondary level, they owned the factories as well that were processing the foods that came off of the land. So if, for example, they were supplying Marks and Spencer's here, they owned the factories in Zimbabwe that were processing the food for export, and they left behind many processing plants which was basically unusable by the time they smashed it up.
Yeah, they smashed it up and they destroyed everything that they left behind, because one of the things that people need to understand is that the African governments many years ago realized that people were coming up and trying to buy back the land and steal the land in that way, because they come back with their money. So what's happened is you can't own land in many parts of Africa. You can only lease it. You understand what I'm saying to you?
From one country to the next.
Yeah, so it was a protection mechanism from the people losing the land, like what happened in Zimbabwe and in South Africa and all those places. So that's why you see that when the Mugabe government reclaimed the land, which even factories was on, what they did, the Europeans destroyed the factories because they couldn't take them with them. You understand me? And destroyed any other stuff that was there. But go on, sis, continue.
That's right. And, if there was toilets, they blocked up the toilets with concrete. They poisoned the land with toxic waste. They poured toxins down the wells, and the boreholes. They slaughtered cattle rather than leave it on the land. They caused major destruction before leaving. And today they want to make a claim for so-called the infrastructure that they built and had to leave behind on those farms.
That they destroyed.
Yes, they forget to admit that they actually destroyed it, trying to give the impression that they built all of this wonderful infrastructure that they had to leave behind and the Africans could then just walk in and use it. That wasn't the case at all. Yes, and Errol's just right. Yeah, and it was black labour that actually built those factories as well. And they would have been paid pittance, for that building work.
And what's interesting, sis, see the ancestors now they're working, that you're on the air even explaining this about what happened in Zimbabwe, because you took people down there and not one person out of the 97 people you brought down there came back and had any kind of negative connotations to make. In fact, a lot of them were quite surprised. I heard some people actually rang up and said, boy, they thought when they got there were going to see this and they're going to see that. They were shocked by what they see. Shocked in a happy way. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
Yeah? And so here we are right here now. It's almost like they're not only, this is why our fight with these people is not just a physical fight.
No.
Yeah, we're fighting them on all levels.
Yes.
We're fighting them culturally, economically, Africationally, and we're fighting them spiritually.
Politically.
And politically. Yes. You understand me? And so when we disrespect our ancestors in the way that this government has done now, so you imagine all them thousands of Africans that fought with Mugabe, Joshua Nkomo and Tongagara against the Ian Smith government and the British.
And my brother, it wasn't an easy war.
It wasn't an easy war.
Easy war at all. I can't remember how long it lasted.
It was about 13 years.
Right. 13 years of war, and it was a wicked and evil war because, you see, because they were unable to fight the freedom fighters in the bush, because they took them into the bush. They call it a bush war.
Yeah, bush war, that's right, yeah.
Because the Rhodesian army wasn't able to fight them in the bush, the Rhodesian...
Not only the Rhodesian army, remember, the white South African people was helping Zimbabwe, Rhodesia at the same time. They're helping Rhodesia. We must never forget that. So they weren't only fighting the Rhodesians, they were fighting South African soldiers as well.
And the wars, the soldiers, the liberation fighters, they were going across the border as well to like Mozambique. The neighboring countries were supporting them in the war as well. And because the Rhodesians and all their supporters realised that they were getting support from across the borders, they also started going across the borders and committing genocide, murdering thousands of innocent civilians. So people suffered not just in Zimbabwe, but also in the neighbouring countries as well that were supporting.
Like Angola and them places there.
Yeah, and because they couldn't, get to the liberation fighters, what they did was they started murdering innocent civilians. Innocent civilians. And there is, for example, a place called Chipongo. And in Chipongo, they found a disused mine shaft. Is the depth of it is about the height of a 30-story building.
That's deep.
That is deep. A 30-story building, and you know what they was filling up that mine shaft with?
Bodies.
Dead African bodies. But you see those bodies? When they found that mine shaft and they exhumed the bodies, they saw that these people had been tortured. Some, they used electric wire to torture them. Some, they drowned and then took them out and resuscitated them, and all kind of wicked ways, wicked and battered and beaten, and they chopped up the bodies and they put the bodies down the mine shaft, and then, well done now, when the mine shaft was filling up, what they did was they put dynamite down the mine shaft to blow up the bodies so that it could make more room for more bodies. And then, when that wasn't enough, they started pouring acid on top of the bodies to try and disintegrate the bodies as well.
You know why that was, innit? Because they were thinking that if people found that years later, they'd be charged for war crimes.
And they ought to be charged with war crimes as well. Well, people did find it, and they have exhumed the bodies, and there is evidence as well from the mutilation of the bodies of what was going on. And the reason why we know that some of these people, or many of them, were civilians, is because on some of the bodies on the lower part of the mine shaft, they had on civilian clothes. There was some that even had like paychecks in their pocket where they were on their way home from work. To find a paycheck and identify the individual, because they used to have to walk around with passes then. So some people they were able to identify from the passes that were on their clothing, and they went to the family home to inquire of the family about that named individual, and the families were able to say that that individual never reached home. I don't know if you remember, my brother, in the 70s when we were hearing on the news about people disappearing in the southern region of Africa.
Well, in the 70s, I'll have to be very, very honest, as a young boy then, and in the 70s I didn't pay much attention to news. I've got to be very honest. But I didn't know. I used to hear my oldest brother, them, they'll talk about Rhodesia and them thing there, and you see the Rasta man, them, and, those people, them there at that time, talking about it. But when I got older and discovered my calling, and I started doing my research, I learned about people being, this happened in South Africa as well.
That's right. People disappearing. Yeah, and people would be on TV crying that their loved ones has disappeared. Their husband, their son, their uncle, their grandfather just disappear. And this is what was happening. This is what the Rhodesian People Army was doing. But the worst thing, before I go on to what I think was even worse than that, another war crime was they used anthrax. An illegal weapon, or biological weapon. They dropped anthrax on the civilians as well, which blew people's faces up like balloons and caused the most unimaginable pain and disfiguration. They use anthrax, which is illegal in their own laws that they have.
When they say illegal, Sister Shanice, it's illegal for them to use it against each other.
Yes.
It's not illegal for them to do what they do to Africans. They've never stopped doing it.
That's true.
They've never stopped abusing us in the most heinous ways.
Yeah, for real.
You understand what I say?
Yes, we're talking.
Right, and you see, like you're talking to me like that now. My blood a boil. You understand me, I say, sis?
And most of us, our blood has gone cold because, we don't realize that these people are at war with us and have been for thousands of years. This is just a continuation of a 2,000, 3,000 year war that they have been waging against us from they crawled out of the caves. And they have been invading people's lands and committing genocide and the most heinous crimes, land mass after land mass after land mass.
Sure.
And we tend to look at these incidences in isolation.
We do.
But
We do.
when you look at the whole picture,
Mm-hmm.
when you look at it on a map of the world, and you can see how they've been sweeping the world and just cleaning it.
This is what I said, Sister Shanice. Them are the COVID. Them are the covert. Are them.
Virus, for real.
Are them are the disease.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You understand me?
Yes.
So anyway, sis, listen. Because the show is so short today,
Yeah.
let's get into. I just was using that as a bridge to explain. Look at what we're trying to do here on a global level as African people. We're trying to obtain reparations for our people globally. Because in England, the reparation movement is a global thing. It's not an isolated thing. It's not just for Africans in Britain or whatever the case may be. It's Africans globally.
Right.
And here we are seeking reparations. And then a member of the African government on the continent is doing something like that. It just falls in the face of, it just makes us look stupid.
It does.
And those ancestors that was found in those pits.
Yes.
Remember, they were
not
killed.
This.
They were kidnapped, massacred.
Yeah.
Their spirits must be crying out to see what this present Zimbabwean government's doing. But I think we can do, today's a short show, so we could do that longer, probably on Thursday or even on Wednesday when you do your show. You can cover it a lot longer. But let's talk about yesterday. And what I've asked people to do is to send a text in, give a call, tell us how they felt about yesterday. Because I want to hear people's viewpoints. I'll give my viewpoints nearer the end of the show. But I just want to hear what people thought about yesterday. Because it was a beautiful day yesterday. The sun was shining. It was hot. You know what I mean? And people came out to support. But let me just read some of these WhatsApp and then you give us a feeling of how you felt it went for you, yeah?
Okay, my brother.
All right.
Cool.
So we have a text says, tuning into the show. Always good to see you, Siba Kwaku, at the Windrush Square. Big up yourself, Amuso. I'm sure that's Amuso. Rwanda, that was Sister Noah. I've got several texts from this person. Oh, they're just sending me those things. And I think Chief did read this out already, but it's sent again. So it says, the Boba Shanti order of Rastafari was not part of the disorder and never would disrespect African spirituality. And the priest who wears a turban like a Boba is not a Boba Shanti priest. And that was, I think, in relation to Chief Chakamba's show, where they was talking about, and Dr. Abu show earlier, about the disorder. Then people come every year, they don't contribute nothing. They don't contribute to, the promoting of the event or anything like that. But every year they come and they're disrespectful. And, I'll comment about that after. Yeah, text reads, T tuned in from Austria, Israel. The same could can be said of South Africa. How does Cecil Ramaphosa become a billionaire when vast majority of the people are even poorer today compared to the past? He is spitting on the grave of every freedom fighter. People who are now his ancestors. I thought we Africans honor our ancestors. I think he's talking about the new president the same president of South Africa and the president of I don't call their names because I don't think they deserve to be called. Yeah. And Kwaku, don't forget that Robert Mugabe was taking his time on getting old on the land. The soldiers who fought for the freedom went onto the land and seized the land. T. And then his last WhatsApp is beep 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 angry. We are constantly betrayed by our so-called leaders. I got on the Facebook someone saying, Lady Reese said, friend said was lovely day. Yeah. How do we move forward? That was from Paulette. Just beyond wickedness. Sydney is watching. Bring them on. And that's it. Yeah, go on, sister. Your time now.
About yesterday?
Yeah, yeah. Give us your...
It's okay. And just to respond to one or two of the text messages, or just one, yeah, and to say that, yeah, we often focus on the leaders as well in the African countries, but, you know, what we have to remember is that, you know, as much as we would like to believe that some of these African countries are independent, some are, you know, lesser so than others, and some, you know, almost voluntarily put themselves in a situation where they allow the Wazungus to govern them. So they're not actually taking responsibility for governing the country. And of course, you know, the political system and the political structures that those Wazungus left behind, even after we'd won the Liberation War, is such that it allows them to be able to control and to manipulate the leaders and the powers that be. Yeah, so
and the ones that they can't control and manipulate, they get rid of.
They take them out.
Thomas Sankara. Patrice Lumumba. You know?
So many.
Steve Biko. And many more.
Many more. Yes, my brother. So, although we won the war for the land, yeah,
we won the battle.
Up the liberation fighters for that, and the text message sender is right. You know, Robert Garvey was going along with the Europeans in terms of the Lancaster Agreement, but it was a group of Africans who decided that they are not prepared to wait another 10 years, and they started the war, and the rest of the country just followed behind, and the rest is history, so to speak. But although they won the war for the land, they didn't remove the Europeans from the land. They didn't remove the Europeans politically. They didn't remove them from their education systems. We still haven't removed them holistically from controlling our healthcare systems. So, you know, they are still controlling far too much of our African systems and structures, and that's why, to a large extent, we're in the problems that we're in. Yeah, because on the economics, remember, they were always the ones that controlled the industries, they controlled the businesses.
They just controlled the entire infrastructure.
Entire thing. And they were doing business with their brothers and sisters across the world. So they've got like...
Who knew what they were doing and who put them there to do it.
And it's still pretty much the same today.
Well, let's move on to tomorrow, sis. Let's move on to... I think what we do, sis, we'll either cover that again on your show, or we'll cover it because it needs more time.
Yes, it does.
You know, and we ain't got enough time to do that here today. So let's talk about yesterday. Let's find out people to call in and give us their view on yesterday. We heard some comments earlier on in Dr. Abu's show and Chief Rokambabai show. You know what I mean? So we just want to finish the day on our eye.
Not so much. Yes, not so much to say about yesterday, and it probably needs more time to discuss it as well, because we need to look at, you know, the running up to the event as well as the event itself. And there needs to be, you know, all of that needs to be critiqued, and we all need to sit around the table, you know, not me personally, but, you know, the organisers and everybody involved. So first of all, I want to rise up Galaxy for its role in contributing towards yesterday's event. I met so many Galaxy family listeners. It was wonderful. People were coming up and introducing themselves to me. It was beautiful to be able to see ones and ones there on the day. I was there from early. The sun was out, as you said. I got there at 10 o'clock because I was expecting to do a live stream via Galaxy, but as we know, there was some sabotaging that went on, so we couldn't actually stream live. But because I was there from morning until night, I got to see the whole day. And what I noticed is that when I arrived at 10 o'clock, it was mainly just a stall setting up and a few people. Okay, now what we had when we're going to march at 12 o'clock, yeah, even though we tell people to arrive at 9 or 10 o'clock, people are coming at like 11:45, to catch the march. So normally by about 12 o'clock, we've got 1,000 people. March. Well, because the event has been restructured and it's an all-day event, people just seem to come.
Come when they want.
Like it. Yes. But come 12 o'clock, I don't think we even had 100 people there. But by the end of the day, there was a good, 1,500 or so people at the event. People came too late, I think. But nevertheless, it was a wonderful day. So I think when we review it, I think the organisers maybe need to look at putting a programme in place that gives a time and has an event that will get people there early. Something they won't want to miss. It's going to happen.
On that early thing, sis, I'd like to make a comment. I don't think that our people respect their own things. I don't think our people respect what is being done or what's being attempted to do to represent them. And so they will come out for other things. But we must be very clinical in our criticisms. And one of the criticism is that the state media makes a clear move to white out what is happening on that particular day in terms of reparations. And we know this because nobody could get through to Galaxy yesterday from in the morning. I listened to Galaxy via WhatsApp. Via tuning. I don't listen on the app. I only listen on the app if I have to, because the app is a bit problematic. But when I listen to it I just click in, tune in, Buffum, Galaxy, something there, Buffum, and go on, I'm a dip on it, Every time I clicked on Galaxy, I was hearing LBC. I was hearing LBC. And then they were talking about traffic disturbance and things. They never mentioned Brixton. You understand what I'm saying? And if they didn't, they never mentioned what the demonstration. They might mention there's a demonstration, but they never mentioned there was an African Emancipation Day reparations demonstration. You understand what I'm saying to you? So we have to be clinical in when we're doing a critique. That we are being held back, right, by the actual media. The European media. Yes, Chief, you there?
Yes, Medaya.
You want to say something?
Greetings, Sister Shanice.
Shanice, can is she gone? Oh, Shanice, call back. I think she's gone when you go on, Chief. Shanice, call back. Go on, Chief.
You might have cut her off. Prophet, this is systematic, and we are now seeing, and we just want to show to our people what the state media conspiracy is all about.
Talk, Chief, talk.
And the fact of the matter is, when our brother, the motivator, came on yesterday morning, he had only 5 minutes, and I was listening because I had my phone on to listen. And the moment he came on and he spoke, and then suddenly everything went blank. And I said, what's happening here? And I waited for a little while, I couldn't hear nothing. And I rang Dr. Abu. I said, Dr. Abu, something has went wrong. I said, the motivator is happening. I rang the motivator first. I said, something is happening. Well, he couldn't help the situation. And I rang Dr. Abu. And Dr. Abu said, Chief, let me go and see what happened. Dr. Abu went to the studio. Dr. Abu said, it seems as if it's the system that is broken down. This has never happened before. Never happened before. But it shows you what systematic plan, what they have got to white out our broadcast, because they know, and this is, you see, the revolution won't be televised.
No.
And this is what we have to be very careful, my beloved. We have to be careful so we don't let the medium know what we are doing, because we have actually said that we were going to broadcast live, and so they take it on to cut us down before we even say a word to the listeners who were listening to us, those who could not attend what we were at yesterday. You know, Brother Kwaku, I respect you, me and you fight, but you know what? I respect you, and you know why you and I are in the same, because we're born the same month, and we have the
October. We're stubborn.
Huh?
Stubborn.
We're stubborn. We have the same vibration, and I love you for that, because I am you, and you are I.
Shay.
To you, what you see through me, because we are governed by the atmosphere of Africanness.
Aye.
You know, yesterday I saw you, I went over and I saw you, and you was pouring a libation, and I rest my arm on you. I don't think you realize I felt the energy of you pouring a libation, my brother.
Oh, you mean when everybody, because what I did, I waited to that everybody was clear from there for specific reasons.
Aye.
And when the Queen,
I rest my hand on your shoulder. I didn't say a word to you. If you notice, I
felt somebody on my shoulder, but I didn't know it was you.
There you go. I didn't say a word to you because I see what was happening, and the ancestors draw eye to you for what you were doing. It's something that had to be done. And I rest my hand on your shoulder, and as you finish, I said to you what I had to say to you, and I walk away from you. I didn't say nothing more to you.
I don't remember that. I swear to, as in front of the whole world, and the answer, I don't remember that. I remember somebody on my shoulder. Somebody put them on my shoulder, right? But I never pay attention to the person because I was in deep prayer.
You shouldn't remember that, because that is something that has to happen. Because I felt your vibration, and I came over. I rest my hand on your shoulder while you were pouring the libation, brethren. You know, but as I'm saying to people today, they don't understand the severity of libation. But you asked us a very important question for ones and ones to say how they feel. And I felt, yesterday I feel the energy of the ancestors, Brother Kwaku. This is one of the first time of the 6 years I spoke about it. I think it was the second or third years when we were going to pour libation in the park, and you asked for all the Europeans to leave. Do you remember that?
I remember it, yes.
And the European walker, you said, I'm not stopping you from being part of it, but this is African business, and this is spiritual. I am asking you to leave. When we finish, then you can come back. You can come back. You didn't say that, you didn't tell them not to come forward. You told them that when we finish, they can come forward, and I respect that. But yesterday, what I take from yesterday, Brother Kwaku.
Hold on, Elder. Let me just read out the number. The text number and the WhatsApp number is 0737 920703. That's the text number and the WhatsApp number. You can send your messages on that. And the number to connect to, right, is 0207. Now, if you're abroad, it's +44. Drop the 0, but it's 0207 193 0174. Go on, Chief.
Yes, my brother. You know, yesterday was spiritual, and those who came with negative entity, it would have been dispersed, because what we were doing yesterday is the ancestral calling.
Ashe.
Brother Kwaku, let me tell you something, my brother. Let me say to you, when the anthem of that we use, Redemption Song, was asked and it was raised for us to sing, I couldn't sing it. My brother, if I did utter a word out of my mouth, I would burst out in tears. I was choked because I felt the spirit of the ancestors that ascending, and I could not say a word. I was choked. I tried to sing it and I couldn't sing. I couldn't. I had goose pimple all over me. And this reminded me of when I went to Ghana the first time in 2002. And when I went to Elmina Castle, it's the same effect I had. The only difference is that no one did not try to say something to me. to see the difference. Because when I went to Elmina Castle, I went inside the castle without knowing how I got into the castle. And I felt the spirit of the ancestors, because what you were doing yesterday by pouring libation, I did that at home before I came out. I got up and I poured libation. Brother Kwaku, I'm under a spiritual guidance of what I'm supposed to do. One said to me, "Oh, you're a chief, why don't you dress?" I'm going by guidance of what I should wear and how I should dress when I go out. I was told, do not wear this, do not wear that, just dress casual. Be yourself, just casual, and be part of whatever you're doing. When the calling comes for you to dress, we will tell you, this is how you dress, this is how you perform, this is what you do. And so I'm going through a guidance. And I came yesterday, Brother Kwaku, and I take the flag with me. Let me tell you something, Brother Kwaku, my beloved brother, who I love. When
all right, Chief. All right. All right, Chief. Yeah, Muduba.
That's what was started. The vibration that we have. Oh, Brother Kwaku. Yo.
Unatimaja. Tono Mavilla.
Rasta.
Olodumare. Jakimba.
You know, it hurts so much.
Ashe.
Our people who doesn't understand the reality of what we are doing.
No, they don't.
Those of us who are spiritually guided. You know, there are times when I says to myself, I didn't want to become a chief. I didn't want to have the vibration. I didn't want to feel this way. There are times.
Chief.
Oh.
Chief. Chief.
Yo.
I want you to say these words after me.
I hear you. I'm guided.
Listen to me.
I'm guided and I can hear you.
Say these words after me.
Go on.
Oneti Magba.
Oneti Magba.
Tonomafila.
Tunamafila.
Olodumare.
Olodumare.
Jakimba.
Jakimba.
How you feel now?
That's all right. Come again with the last bit.
Olodumare.
Olodumare.
Jakimba.
Jakimba.
What we just said there in Yoruba is, may the path that I take be the correct path.
I felt the energy and I know the energy.
Olodumare.
Olodumare. Brother Kwaku, I poured my libation before I came out yesterday. And I got a phone call of my behavior, what I do and what I shouldn't do. You know what happened yesterday when my beloved brother was arrested? You know, I try, and there was two sisters around me. And the two sisters came, and even though when the two sisters hold on to me, they held on to me, I felt bad. And when I felt bad is because all of this was stemmed from me. That I should have been the one that should have been arrested. But I wasn't the one that arrested. And the energy passed on to my brother who was being arrested. My brother didn't do anything.
I'm going to let you into something. I'm going to let you into something, Chief, yeah?
Go on.
When I came, I walked down from, because I heard that Sister Esther was on her own down at Max Roach. So I was walking down there. And while I was walking down there, I was stopped and saying, one of Marcia stopped me and said, one of our steward them get arrested. Right? So obviously now I couldn't walk on. I have to try and help. So I stopped, and Ashley was there. Yeah, the gorilla man. And he was questioning the police, and we was questioning the police, wanting to know what's happened with him and things like that. One of the policemen said, look, I just come, I don't know, but I'll go in and I'll come back out and I'll let you know exactly what happened and that type of thing. Yeah? And so we stood up there for quite a while. Yeah? So by the time me for walk go down there now, me see two people, and them tell me, I was telling them what happened, and they said, boy, we don't know. When I heard it was Lionel, because I know Lionel from school. That the brother there is not the type of guy to do anything to make police arrest him. Right? But what they were telling me there is that them throw water upon the police them.
I never throw no water upon the police.
No. Hold on there. This is what I'm hearing. So then what happened is now, when we go down further now, and me see Delani, I think it was Delani and Minka. And I was explaining to them, and them say, I think they saw what happened.
Yes.
And they were saying, well, I mean, no, you know, the man just start throw water and them go for arrest the chief, and then like my man just throw water upon them, but they said the water went on them as well. This water went on them.
The brother tried to protect I.
Yeah.
The brother tried to protect I from, because
but hold on, chief.
Pushed him back.
Hold on, because the spirit tell me exactly what was going on. So when them a tell me now, them a tell me like them was a bit confused. So me said to them, "You don't know what happened?" I said, "I can tell you what happened." The spirit just tell me that the water there, right, was to protect the chief. Exactly. Yeah? And anybody else. And unfortunately, our brother Lionel was the sacrificial lamb.
Exactly.
Unfortunately. You see, me never, every year, upon the annual demonstration, I fast. I don't eat nothing all day. Every year I fast. See? And me pour my libation before me leave and send protection to everybody. All the committee, all the people them who's attending. We have never, in the 6 years of doing that annual demonstration, had one arrest. No. In the 6 years. They've even sent agent provocateurs.
Yes.
That look like us to come and create disturbance.
Yes.
This is the kind of thing that has been facing the committee for the last 6 years. So I expected nothing different this year. You understand what I'm saying to you? But we have to remember that these people are working magic like everybody else. And we have to start work through with magic upon them too.
Of course we have to. And
you understand me?
This what upset me, brother Kwaku, is when I listen to our Africans, so black people who doesn't see themselves as Africans, speak the way they speak in a such a derogatory way, said they can't see why we are doing the march and what we're doing. It really hurts me. And
Chief.
It sent a different, a negative energy to my
Chief. Chief.
Yes, my brother.
You must never make it upset you. Yes, it used to upset me before, Chief. But you see, the thing about it is this now. You see, when you Africate yourself and you have certain African and Africa-related mentality, you know why them think like that. You have to remember that we are the descendants of the kidnapped people. We are the people them that they've kept here, or make us come here, or even in the colonies that we were. They have been programming us to think a certain way.
We are the survivors.
Psychological programming is a reality.
It is.
It is a function. It works. We see it. You understand what I'm saying to you? So the fact that every year we have this demonstration on that particular day, it upsets them.
It does.
They came yesterday looking a fight.
They did.
Right? Because when you see the amount of them that was there, They were expecting a whole lot more of us to be there. And the fact that a whole lot more of us was not there is why they started to postulate themselves and get a bit arrogant. But because the libation show, you understand me? There were certain forces holding them at bay.
Yes, I know that.
I know people think we're talking some mysticism stuff and all the rest of it, you know what I mean?
People think that because they haven't got the reality of what libation is. Whether quickly you and I have been to Barbados, we have seen real libation and how libation can be poor and what happens during real libation, brethren. We have seen the spirit of the answer. Whether quickly I had that flag in my hand. And that flag was blowing when no wind was actually blowing. A sister came up to me and said, do you realize that the flag is blowing? Marcus Garvey said, you will come into the wind.
Come, look for me in the whirlwind and the storm. Count on me to be the real Marcus Garvey I'd like to be.
In the wind, without some of our people overstand why we were there yesterday, because I felt it, because I had the flag in my hand, and the flag was blowing without no wind actually generating.
Ashay. I mean, yesterday, Chief, there was a lot of things happening yesterday. You understand what I'm saying to you? And as we all know now, as they're in an observance mode, but as they're more in a spiritual mode.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah? And my mother was there.
Of course.
Yeah? And my mother had a good time.
Strengthen you. Yes.
My missus brought my mother down and she had a good time. She enjoyed herself.
Yes.
You understand me? Yeah? So there was all sort of blessings happening there yesterday. You understand me? But what I will say, let me just read out this text here, Chief. Don't go nowhere. It says, I saw a piece of social media from yesterday's Reparations Day done by a white man who interviewed a white woman who said that the march had happened last year and that there was hardly 100 people there, and that it was their attendance this year that helped to make this year well attended. She went on to say that the only way forward was together. Everyone seems to claim our energy to fuel their agenda. And that's from who's this guy?
Well, the name of the sender is that doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, that's from 291. Yeah, then he said, is the 7th year spiritually significant to have one of us, an innocent, enter the art of the military complex and return? Is this also significant? You see, any war you fight, there are casualties, my friend.
It will have to be.
Any war you fight, if you're fighting an economical war, there's economical casualties. If you're fighting a biological war, there's biological casualties. If you're fighting, an arms war, there are arms war casualties. You're fighting an educational war, there's educational casualties. And if you're fighting a cultural war, there's cultural casualties. And if you're fighting a spiritual war, there's spiritual casualties. And we're losing the war on all fronts. You understand me? So yes, the brother.
I know. Let me have to readdress this with a Quaker, my beloved brother. We are not losing the war, It's just that the fact that there are more of us are coming on board, and because before there were less of us, now there are more, and it seems as if we're not losing the war. We're not losing it, but we are galvanizing more strength. It's happening slowly. But it's happening, my brother.
I think, Chief, I disagree with that. We are losing the war. And I'll give you my reasons for why I say what I say.
Go on.
We are losing the war in that we are experiencing more casualties than our enemy. You understand what I'm saying? I think what you're saying, which is what I agree with, is that we're not giving up the war. You understand what I'm saying? We're losing a lot of battles because the war ain't over yet. You understand? But we're losing a lot of the battles because we have infiltrators. Yeah? We have people that's collaborating with the enemy. And a lot of our people are apathetic. So when I say we're losing the war, there's more of our people moving into, say the spiritual war. Look how many churches there are. Look how many mosques there are. Look how much of our people are in these foreign doctrines, giving their spiritual energy to those people's spiritual deities. So our deities is finding it difficult to enter into the realm because there's not enough of us doing what we're supposed to do to invite them in.
Spiritual deity, Brother Kwaku, is not finding the purity.
You see?
And because our spiritual deity can only work with purity and honestness.
O'Shea.
Yesterday, you see the silence. You see what you went and did yesterday. They were quiet in spite of the fact that the music was playing. And there's something that you wouldn't have realized. And let me tell you what you did not take on. When you poured that libation, the music was off. The music switched off because they had some problem, some technical problem, and that music was off.
I didn't know that.
You could hear yourself speak to yourself with a Kwaku that you didn't realize.
O'Shea.
Right? You didn't hear that. There were some technical difficulties that they have, and there was no music. There was some calmness for the ancestors to hear your words clearly of what you were doing. So, my brother, we have to be in tune in what we do, what we say in this time. I don't want to take over your show, but we have to.
No, Chief, listen to me. Chief, I move with certain energies, If you to talk to the show done, it don't matter. This is not no takeover show business. We're all here together. We're talking about yesterday. We're talking about our repertory needs and what we have to do as a people. And if the ancestors send you to talk, you have to just talk, King. The show is not my show. The show is called the Nubian from People's Talk Show.
Jesus.
I'm just a facilitator of the show.
Brother Kwaku, I get emotional. Of all years, anyone will tell you that I've been on Galaxy. I've never get so emotional.
I've never heard it. Never.
I've never ever felt.
I got a text here. It said from 184. It said Rise Up Chief.
Never felt like this before. But I see negativeness among people that we're trying to bring together to galvanize strength for people. I've never ever felt like this before. And I rang the people and I said to them, please, if this what it takes for me to continue to be a chief, I'd rather not be a chief. And the question was, they did not even answer me. They did not even answer me because what I felt, this is one of the second time I felt like this. When Brother Abraham passed away.
I got a text here. I got a text here from a Facebook person. It says, Kwaku, your libation energy is always moving and spiritually powerful. Ashay.
Respect. As I'm saying, when the only other time I felt like this, when I first came back, and he was sent to me from Sierra Leone to assist in the libation, as we was paying homage to our brother Abraham. And this is the second time I felt like this. And when I poured the libation, Brother Kwaku, when I got there's a wall outside you know where I live.
Yeah.
And there's a wall outside. I sat outside at the wall, and I was as hot. I could not cool down. The evening was cool. I have so much heat on my body. Let me tell you, those who were there will tell you I was speaking in tongues that I don't know nothing about. I don't even know what I was saying. Elder Erakuti was talking, and all I was speaking is as if Erakuti was speaking in slow motion. And I was repeating what Elder Erakuti, everyone who stood there could hear what was happening. I had my staff in my hand, my staff stick in my hand. And I knew I was swaying from side to side, but I was swaying in a violent way. I could not control myself because of what we did at that time.
Ashay.
And so what happened yesterday morning, and when I asked the ancestors to guide and protect me, and to save me from the evil forces around me.
Yes, Chief.
When I got out, and what happened to Brother Lionel, you know, there were two beautiful sisters that held on to me, but they were weak in the sense that they were holding on to me because there was another energy that was driving me to do something different.
Ashe.
You know, but I console myself, and that's what I said today, that some of our people doesn't understand the spiritual attribute that has been given to some of us.
Ashe, Chief, ashe.
You know, so it's a beauty, but it's painful when one doesn't understand what you have to be, when you have to take on negative energy from some of our own people that look like us, because you take it on to see that they are not even ready for what you are doing.
They're not ready, Chief, and a lot of our people are not ready. And you know, I said I was going to give my views nearer the end of the show, and I'll do that probably about 10 to. But there's some WhatsApp here. Stay there, Chief. I just want to read out these WhatsApp. It says, hello, brother Kwaku, and this is from 493. It says, hello, brother Kwaku, welcome back to Galaxy Station. Sorry for the silly questions. When did you come back to the Galaxy Station? This is a text that just come in. I came back is it about 2 months now, Chief?
Yeah.
About 2 months. Yes. Are you no longer working with... No, I'm not working with the Rock Station. What is your new time on Sunday's Galaxy Station? My new times is 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
You know, Brother Quick, I wouldn't even read notes. I think I get one of those type of questions that some of our people ask. Those type of negative question. I think it has to just bypass some of those. The emotive to the vibration that we're taking on right now.
Oh, it is on. It was peaceful. I came from Birmingham due to traffic parking, etc. I didn't arrive until 3 to 4 p.m. I didn't get the feeling of planning or coordination in terms of drumming. The Forever Family use the live. I think it meant live stage and music. I feel we needed a corner dedicated to young youth, for example, African-centered painting, coloring, storytelling to engage the youth from early. Let them know what this is about and how bright their future will be due to the works we are doing now. There needs to be a schedule or program to work from. I feel less music was needed, more speakers to explain what is happening and why we are gathering there, as well as motivating speakers, inspiring us Africans on the work that needs to be done. And that's from 242.
I had a text earlier. I had a text like that earlier.
Yeah. Text reads, the people don't know what we have to go through, my brother Kwaku. Vudum. I think this is Dr. Abu. Your mother's presence there yesterday, Kwaku, give me an energy to continue the liberation works.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Ancestors in the now. Not even ancestors in the past. Ancestors in the now that drive us.
Here's one for you, Chief.
Important.
Text reads, greetings, Kwaku. I can feel the Chief vibration in Birmingham family. So Birmingham, I feel you, Chief.
My brother, the energy, it's permeate around because we have to show our feelings. You know what I mean? Come on. My feelings, one of such, I've been doing Galaxy for nearly 40 years and could be more. And it's now coming to a stage where I can't hide my emotions when they have to be shown. And I'm emotionally, I'm lifted with emotion because what we are doing, we are not doing it because a hype. We're not doing it because we're looking for any name. You know, when we're born with a purpose, and this is our calling to do what we are doing.
You know what, Chief? I think that we have to continue this on Thursday, and I think I'm going to dedicate the whole of that time, and I'd like you to come in on that show with me on Thursday, if you can.
Real reason.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to invite certain Galaxy presenters for all of us to go over that, because I think it deserves the time. And I'll tell you why. Yeah. Because you've never shown emotions like that before, ever. Never ever. You understand me? And some of the WhatsApp them and the texts that's coming in and the energy that I'm actually feeling back here, I can feel the people listening to our conversation. I noticed that Sister Shanice, she did not ring back in because I think she feels that it would disturb what's happening here. So she hasn't rang back. I actually know that.
Yeah.
Without even she saying it. So what we'll do, Chief, yeah? I think we should do this Thursday. You meditate. We'll talk in the week. Yeah?
We will talk on Thursday. Yeah, we will reason.
Yeah? And I think I'm going to invite certain members of the group to come in, and we're going to lick out this thing, because I feel that the spiritual side of the march is kind of taking a bit of a back burner.
And it's not been looked at, and we have to look.
Yeah.
We have to.
I think it has been, and I don't mean that in a negative way.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I don't mean it like that.
No.
It's just that when people's got so much things to do, some things get left behind, not intentionally. You understand me? Yeah. Being down at Max Roach and being up there and trying to coordinate and execute the plan seemed a bit difficult. Yeah. There's no way Esther should have been down at Max Roach by herself.
On her own.
No, that should never have happened. You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah? But we have to remember that we're not only fighting a physical war, we're fighting a physical, cultural, economical, armed, and spiritual war.
Very much so.
You understand me? And I'm thinking, because I was heading down there, you know, and then they stopped me to tell me, Kwaku, look, blah, 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 blah. Sometimes this is what happens. It's blockages. You know, like when you got a knot in your foot and the blood ain't moving through, you have to bore it out, massage it out. You understand me? And so, you know, undisciplined was there yesterday. These guys, these Rasta brother them, who come down there every year, and if we march to Parliament, they go to one side and they're doing their thing. They don't follow the order, but yet these are guys who likes to talk about the order. So, so the march never happened this year.
Sorry. The painful part of it is when you look at me, you says to me, it's 3 minutes silence. And you and I, and who was another brother? Was Brother Minka? This Brother Minka, so it was 3 of us who stood together because a sister gave me some drink. And I came over to you, and you said to me 3 minutes silence. But the 3 minutes silence, I didn't expect it to happen so quickly. And then we listened to the drum, and our brother asked. But
if you remember, when you came over to me with a drink, yeah? Yes. I put my hand at my mouth, and I was pointing at the back of me because I was pointing at the clock.
Yes,
but
you did point at the clock, and I walked away from you. Because I walked over to the brothers who were playing the drum.
That's right.
To go and say to them, it's 3 minutes silence. And they did not recognize, they didn't acknowledge what I was saying to them. And that's why I walk away from you.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. You see, it'll show you that we're not disciplined.
We're not disciplined.
Respect, and yet we call ourselves Rasta. They are the first people, whether or not they're from any group, they should be the first people to stand up and show respect. They are genuine to the cause of what we're calling for. Why they were there.
They weren't there for that. They were there to disrupt. This Brother Simeon and the rest of them, he does it every year. Every single year comes there with their nonsense, and the rest of the year you don't see them doing nothing. You don't see them putting nothing together. It was His Imperial Majesty Strong, July the 23rd. Did they put anything together for His Majesty? No, they did not. They wait to the 1st to come down, to come and disrupt. And at some point, we have to get militarily with them. No, it's not a joke thing. Because I think that we've been patient with them long enough. They are behaving like the enemy. You understand me? If you feel to yourself you can't humble yourself under what is being prepared, then, brethren, you don't have to be there.
Not at all.
You don't have to be there.
Not at all.
Yeah?
Not at all.
You understand what I'm saying? But if you're gonna come there, just humble yourself under the thing. So when I saw the 3 o'clock, Brother Leo went over to the mic, and Brother Leo was saying, we're going to do the 3-minute silence thing. But that was like nearly dead 3 o'clock. So at the 3-minute silence...
Because what happened, I think we were getting... the timing was a bit... because there was one timing that was given to him where someone was checking the time and the person said there were 3 minutes. And so we had 2 different timing that didn't synchronize. That's why there was slight delay in the timing when they walk over to you. But
the mic that Brother Leo went, that sound over there wasn't loud enough because you couldn't really hear it over where we were.
True.
You just about heard it. You understand, Chief?
Yes.
Yeah, you just about heard it. So because of the ritual that I did the morning, and which I do every morning, but I did a different ritual yesterday morning, I couldn't open my mouth. So when you was talking to me, if you notice, I put my hand at my mouth and went...
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Yeah? Because I knew I couldn't talk until after 3 minutes. Because that's something that's been going on for decades. At least the last 2 decades, because it was the African Remembrance Day Committee that's, started that celebration on the 1st of Messiah.
Aye.
Yeah? You see what I'm saying? So
yes,
in unity with that, that's why we at the committee at the time decided to embrace that. You understand? Because we invited them 1 year to come, but they couldn't because they'd already sorted something out somewhere else. You understand me? Yeah. So in solidarity, we synchronized that. So when that 3 o'clock come, I wasn't opening my mouth. Not even my mother was there. She did call me, wouldn't answer.
Aye.
You understand what I'm saying to you?
You didn't speak. You put on your hand in the mark and you realize. I realized what was happening.
But there was a lot of talking and noise and things going on. They didn't pay attention to it. You see what I'm saying? Yeah? So that's something else. But, above that, it was a good day.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and it was a good day for the people, but the execution was problematic. And I think the reason why it was problematic is because not enough of our people came when they were supposed to come. I mean, I know the Free Family youth, they did look good coming down Clapham High Street, but if they were there from the beginning, right, then the lockdown could have been executed a lot earlier, and the police then wouldn't have been so brazen, if you understand what I'm saying to you.
Well, but a quick one. The people were there that could have happened, but because of the sound system, people were more galvanized.
Yeah,
sound system.
Look, we know about music. We love it, innit? And when our people say music, it's going to take them. So we have to know how to discipline them. You know what I mean? And them sound man, they need to listen to the organizers when they're talking. That's what they need to do. And the organizers just need to relate to them straight. Rude boy. If you feel so you can't listen to nobody, we don't need you, because there's a holy sound that's lining up to come and support. It's as simple as that.
Is it but a Kwaku is a start of something first and it's new, it's fresh.
Yeah.
And so as I said this morning, it's a post-mortem that we actually open and see the changes that can be made and how we can develop and how we can strengthen and make sure
yes, definitely
it will be better.
Definitely. But Chief, it's 7 minutes to, and obviously, I got to wrap up at 8.
I'm going to leave you alone.
Yeah.
Listen, we will catch up on Thursday.
Yeah.
We carry this on. Thank
All
you.
right, okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Right. Let me just apologize to the people them that was calling and I didn't answer the phone. I didn't expect what happened to happen with Chief and myself. So what I'm saying to the listeners, yeah, if you give me the permission, somebody send me a WhatsApp and give me the permission, I will continue this show on Thursday. I'm not going to take no more calls. I'm wrapping up. I'm not going to take no more calls because I got a whole load of WhatsApp to read out. I got some messages on the Facebook, and I think I need to respect those people as well. So I just want to apologize for not answering the phone. Please give me your forgiveness, and I will continue this on Thursday. Yeah, we've got enough time to do it. I'm sure Sister Shanice is going to do it in her show, Dr. Abu, Chief Prakambabai, and everybody else is going to do that. But I finish at 8 o'clock. I only got 6 minutes, and so I want to read out these texts and these messages. Greetings, Kwaku. I think there should be more for the people that sacrifice and are casualties of these devils, because in my opinion, the ones who sacrifice themselves for the cause, they are forgotten and left to the rot. That's why a lot of us won't put themselves forward. If they feel if they feel the leaders don't care, Ashe, and I hear that, and you know, Brother Leo did come down. He did check the police. He checked the superintendent, and we stopped the procession outside the Brixton train station. And him said, "We now move until we know what's happened to our brother." Yeah, so that happened. You overtime say we have to realize what our limitations are in terms of how we can force things. If we have the numbers, if 10,000 of our people that was down there, trust me, they wouldn't try nothing. Because if there was 10,000 strong black men them down there on Thursday, yeah, do you think they want Marks and Spencer and all them place they mash up? They wouldn't take no chance. You understand? Because they know they wouldn't have been able to angle it. So the next time when we have our demonstration like that, the people them just need to come out en masse. When there's a mass of you, they behave themselves. Because from up top they told them, do not do nothing to upset these people and damage property. Because property is more worthy to them than people. Yeah? Boy, there's summer. The chief is real. Well done, Brother Kwaku. Muta Kilimanjaro. Big up yourself, Muta Kilimanjaro. Rise up yourself. I'm just going to read these texts out very quickly. Feedback from a sister that attended yesterday. If you can read this, especially after listening to Chief, Sister Angie. God, this is a long one. It might take up the whole of the flipping 5 minutes to read. But I'll try my best. Grand rising, my sisters. I hope you all had peaceful night, sleep, and awaken with happiness and joy. It was an emotional day for me yesterday, hearing the old reggae tunes yesteryear, coupled with the struggles for the forefathers, mothers have been through. They suffered a lot, torture, pain, rape, and treated in an inhumane manner. Vibes. Could you just give me let me just read out all these texts. I'm probably going to go over just 2 minutes, but let me just read out the texts, vibes, and then I'll lock off when you come in. Yeah, technicians, just give me the opportunity, please. I'll be about 2-3 minutes over. Let me because this is a long text. Yeah, as in response to the chief, they suffered torture, pain, rape, and treated in an inhumane manner. They died hoping that we, their descendants, would get better treatment and better life. Today we, their descendants, are allegedly free, and some of us are living in better conditions than our ancestors. However, many of our people today, I just missed that. God. Today, we are still faced with the same. With some of the same brutality, and we are still seen as the underdogs in the eyes of the white supremacists and the privileged white. They are still killing us on the streets. I tell you what, family, if you leave this text on it, don't delete them. Sister Angie, I'll read this out Thursday. Yeah, because it is a long text. Yeah, and there's other texts. Yeah, and I just want to get through them. What time you broadcast on Thursday? I broadcast from 9 p.m. to whenever I feel like leaving. Yeah? Can you please give us an overview of the march? I did it on Thursday, can't do that now. Yeah? I really wanted to observe the 3-minute silence collectively. She was not on her own. Okay. Got that. I think that's in regard to Sister Esther. Vibes was great groundings, however led by distractions. We have to overstand the one voice principle in our greetings. Music can play in between. Much more can be achieved in terms of imparting knowledge and sharing info. Got 2 more to go. Good show, Prophet Kwaku. And summing up of the reparations march for the chief. Remember, there are spiritual wickedness in high places, and the ancestors intervene via the lion man. You will need to pour libation for the lion man every day, and for the enemy too. Music was good, but it should have been reparations music. And some talking of reparations. I've claimed the day, whether it's the whole day or half day. Yeah, 1st August, Sister V. Okay, yeah, because we have to claim the day. It's the day we have to claim. Please continue on Thursday, T. I will do. Haile Selassie said we must respect spiritual kings, man. And yesterday in behavior is not about the king's teachings. Jah Rastafari, Prophet Jabi. Listen, the show has been beautiful. I've enjoyed the show. Great show, Prophet. The text will still be there. Big up Russ Ezekiel next after. Russ Ezekiel, is your time, yeah? Let me just go out by saying these words. Itepe, Ineke, J.A. Senebe. Divine peace, long life, stability and good health to all you Africans who tuned in. Onete Magba, Tono Mafila.
What, do you say I must go home? Sir, I'm going home to Brixton later. I'm going home to Brixton. Sir, when you sir, why am I here? Sir, I was happy. You asked me why I'm here. I was happy at home in my own country in Africa, swinging from tree to tree, speaking the Uga language. A white man came to me in Africa, and he promised me a world cruise where I would not have to work long hours. When we were in Africa in the trees, we saw the white man below us stealing all our resources. My mother said to me one day, let us go back to England and get it back. We arrived at England, Heathrow Airport. The immigration officer said to my mother, how long are you here for? She said, as long as my gold, diamonds, uranium, titanium, cobalt, oil, copper, iron, lead, silver, rice, coffee, cocoa, tea is here, I am here. He stamped permanent resident of the United Kingdom in her passport. When you Europeans arrived in Africa, I am 40 years old. You spent 400 years in Africa. I have 360 years left in this country. And if you don't like it, you can f*** off.